to Top Fives, the show of everything. Top Fives, presented by the Sex Effects. I'm Joey Prati.
And I'm Sean Day.
And folks, we have, I think, a pretty enthralling couple lists for you this evening.
Yeah, we kind of
I would use that word.
Came up with these on the spot, I would say, but I'm actually really excited for this one because I think the two of these lists we have done like a version of this, or we've done like kind of what do you call it, paralleling lists with each other. But you know, I don't want to spoil too much, but we'll get into it later.
We'll get into it. But first, Shawnee, good to see you. Cheers.
Cheers. I have. Oh, what is that? Oh my God!
Good.
You got a what? Oh, what is that?
That is
please describe that to me. It looks really cool.
That is a gin sour.
Ooh, gin sour. It has that cool like purple color.
Yeah, so that's Empress Gin. Alicia made this for me. She's made me one. I stayed the last 3 or 4 nights in a row. Whoa. It's 2 shots of Empress Gin, 3/4 simple syrup, 3/4 egg white.
Okay.
I think that's it. Oh, and lemon juice.
Ooh, okay. And you guys do freshly squeezed lemons, right? I think.
Yes, we do.
You made me a. You and Alicia.
Was it whiskey sour?
Whiskey sour, which was.
Or was it an old fashioned? I can't remember.
It was a whiskey. I think it was a whiskey sour, because it had the lemon juice in it. I think.
Okay, yeah, that would have been that. Yeah.
That was so good, dude. And that was such a cool thing, visiting your place for the first time and like, you know, just like making cocktails. So it was kind of cool.
And making out. What?
What? Making out like a bandit, y'all.
Exactly. But yeah, man, fucking that's what I'm sipping on tonight. You don't have anything?
I have nothing. I have this empty water container. I should have put water. I drank some water before this, so I was like, okay, I think I'll be good for this show. But I am dry. I have no I have some whiskey. I do have some whiskey, but I don't have any beer or anything at the house at the moment. So
you know what? That's probably for the best, right?
Yeah, there was a moment where I was drinking like quite a lot of beer in the month, and then you know, I guess the holiday season too. Like when I was back home for Thanksgiving, you know, like my dad was just like, "Okay, there's beer's in the fridge," and I was like, "You know what? Got a few days off, gonna kick back and drink some beer." So
love that.
Yeah, but
beers are a good time.
Beer's a good time.
Yeah.
But off air, I was gonna tell Joey the story. This week at my work, I had like an incident at work where we had this homeless guy come into the store. We're about open for like an hour, and this guy goes, "Hey, can I get a free donut?" And I was like, "Hey, I'm so sorry, man. You gotta, you know, buy something or, you know."
So is this like 5:30 in the morning?
Yeah, 5:30 in the morning. Ugh. There's like maybe one person sitting inside. And yeah, it was crazy, dude. Like I was literally about to say, but I can get you like a water, or I can get you something, you know, something. Just to offer him something. And the dude went,
because you're a good dude.
Yeah, I was trying to be a good Samaritan. And the dude literally was like, looked at me and he goes, "Fuck you!" And he just like pushes. And I'm at the bar area, and you know, there's if you remember, there's some glass right there.
Yes.
He pushes the glass. It doesn't break, which I'm actually really surprised, and but it like damages the brackets that it's on. And what's crazy is we have some chocolate mocha sauce in a container, and it's like it's not touching the wall, but it's in that area. So with the brute force of this guy pushing it, the mocha just went ew and just spilt like all over the place.
Cleaning up the mocha is one of the worst fucking chores. Now, the damage that he caused and the extra labor that he caused, it would have just been cheaper to give him a fucking donut.
For real. Yes. Yeah. Seriously. I was like, man, I guess. But yeah, so like that happened, and then, you know, we called the cops and stuff, and then the cops come and they're like, "Oh, the person you're describing, we actually got a call just before you guys. This dude actually assaulted some woman in her car, apparently." And yeah, so he came to the store right after. So it was pretty crazy, dude.
All fired up.
All
Jesus.
fired up. So they like legit arrested this guy. But yeah, you know, I don't know what.
Did you talk to the cops or anything?
My supervisor did, but I mean, I just described to them. I was like, hey, he just came in here and did this and like all that. And then I guess the worst part was the mocha stuff was like trying to clean that shit up. And then,
Awful.
yeah, it sucks. And then we had like people started coming in and we're like, oh man, like the area that we're supposed to work in is just not fit for like working in right now. So
That sucks, dude.
but it's all good. I mean, we've both been in that world and, we've witnessed stuff before. And I keep my cool most of the time. It's just an inconvenience, I would say.
Did you say anything? Were you like, yo, fuck you? Hey.
I was just like, yo, dude, you got to leave. Get out of here. We're going to call the cops. And he just like stood still for like a bit. And then my supervisor just went like, all right. So, yeah, that was my Monday this week, which was exciting. But, yeah, everything's been pretty chill so far.
Nice.
So I'm in my little bathrobe again. I think it's
keep forgetting to do that. Yes,
it's becoming a theme for me.
I need to jump back on the robe train.
Yeah, well, it's like getting chilly out here too, and I've realized the nights where I'm just like after work and just relaxing, especially after the show, I'm just like, I just want to feel comfortable and just feel good. So
just want to feel good. Can you make me feel good? It's a really weird Monsters Ball reference.
Yeah,
that we won't get into. So,
dude. Yeah. But anyways, life is good, man.
Good.
Yeah, just trying to get through the week.
I feel that.
I'm yawning because I have been up since
I'm
early this morning. Yeah. What else? Shit. That's pretty much it, dude. It's
nice.
December now, so that's we're getting through the month of December, and I've got my cousin's wedding. My cousin Edwin's getting married next Saturday. So that's gonna be
congrats,
fun.
Edwin.
Yeah, no, Edwin, if you listen to the show, congrats, man.
Where's the wedding gonna be?
It's gonna be in Los Angeles. It's not like, it's not like downtown LA. It's kind of a little bit out of this area, but yeah, it's gonna be fun. This is gonna be the part of my family I usually see once a year for Christmas, but we haven't seen each other for like, for Christmas the last 2 Christmases because. Yeah, it's been COVID
and virus that shall not be named.
Yeah, the virus shall not be named. So, yeah. So I'm excited to see like family and hang out with like, and then I have my cousin Ashley. She just had a baby too, like recently. So it's getting to see like all the new family too. So I'm really excited about that. So
very cool, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Joey, how are you doing today and this week and this weekend? How was your weekend, dude?
The weekend was good, man. Trying to think, what the hell did we do Friday?
The weekend's been a blur for sure.
It really, yeah. We did our whole Christmas. We got our tree. We got our tree up. Yeah. We had to chop some of the bottom branches off to get it into the base. Ordered some Golden Boy, made quite a few of these bad boys.
I know, those look so good. Those look delicious.
They're so good. What else? There's so much. I don't know. Lisa started her new job. I don't know if I'm allowed. She's working on Facebook, which is wild.
Yeah, that's wild, dude.
Meta.
At the Facebook.
Yeah. So she started that yesterday.
Oh man,
exciting.
Fresh, very fresh then.
Yeah. Ooh. Let's see. I went to the doctor's, got a clean bill of health. They're like, "Can you pee into this cup?" And I was like, "I just went. There's no way." And she's like, "Just try." And I went in. Boom! I was able to do it. It was like this is magic. What else? I'm still fucking reeling from the Get Back documentary. I have not stopped thinking about it. You haven't watched it yet?
I haven't watched it yet, dude. And I'm waiting for like a free moment to do it.
You need several free moments because this thing is like 10 hours long.
Yeah. Although I've seen lots of clips from the series, and it is from what you've described, there are a lot of, it's such a long documentary where there's a lot of those moments that happen during like the songwriting process, and it's cool, man. It's cool that there is this footage that exists and it's been edited for people to watch, especially for how impactful the Beatles have been to music and a lot of different generations of people. So I think that's so cool.
I think if you're not a fan of the Beatles, and if you're not a person who has ever written songs with other people, the first episode is going to be a little difficult to sit through because there's a lot of repetitive. It's them just kind of noodling around until they find a riff and they start working on it. And it's a very
Yeah.
slow, drawn out, repetitive kind of process. The second one, finally the songs start to take shape. There's more drama. There's more, but the first one is a lot of them just sitting in a fucking room rehearsing and trying to, figure stuff out, which can be boring, can be kind of frustrating, can also be really exhilarating at the same time if you've ever been in that situation where you're learning a song for the first time and talking it through and figuring it out. I think there's no clip that you can watch that is going to give you that feeling of being able to watch, Paul McCartney just strumming on his bass and then absentmindedly comes up with the riff to Get Back.
That's
and
so
then
cool.
They just, you know what I mean? Like, and then you see that process over 9 hours. Until they, it's finished and they love it and they're excited about it.
Because you don't see, I mean, even documentaries these days, I know it's the Beatles and they have footage and but like the format of this kind of series, I think that was such an interesting thing because, it's somewhat unfiltered in a way, right? Like it has its moments where it just kind of lives, right? And you're just there to kind of witness.
I think the only other artists that you could have gotten away with something of this length with is Elvis and Bob Dylan, probably.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. And I'm sure there's lots of footage of like Bob Dylan and stuff. Yeah.
Well, and Scorsese's made a 2.5-hour documentary on Bob Dylan. I mean, you could do a series on Dylan, you could do a series on Elvis, and there's other artists that you could do a series on. But I'd say those three have probably had. No, that's terrible to say. I was going to say they've probably had the most cultural impact. I think at their time they definitely did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I do think Lennon and McCartney as songwriters, and probably Dylan in that camp as well, will be remembered 200, 300, 400 years from now.
Yeah, that's super cool. So I don't know if we talked about this last time, but is it a limited thing? Like it's only?
I don't know. That's why I thought it was, because they kept saying streaming on these 3 days. So I was like, is it only available for those 3 days? So I made sure to watch it, but it's still up there as far as I know.
Okay.
It's very good. Like, just put it on. Like, you don't even need to like pay attention fully until I'd say the second episode.
Okay.
But like, just have it on. Have these guys creating music in the background while you're doing shit. Like, just don't wait. Don't wait for the perfect time, because you're always going to be like, it's 9 hours long. I don't have time. Just start the first one and don't worry about it.
I feel you, dude.
Yeah.
I think that's super cool. I'm really want to check it out. We talked about it on our last episode too with Andrew, because the episode was band centered. And
that was fun. That was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun. And thank you, Andrew Hopkins.
Thank you, Hops.
Dude. Thug Thrifty, for joining us. That was so much fun, dude. So, that's so cool. I've been really into these like band documentaries. I think I mentioned this in the past, but
yeah, probably.
There is a series on Vice on their YouTube channel called The Story of, and it's kind of like a making of the song, and it usually focuses on one song from that artist. And they've done all sorts of people. They've done bands from like Papa Roach to like Shaggy, like the last one I watched was Wheatus, Teenage Dirtbag, and like the story behind that song and like how that was. So that's it's cool. And they're like, I don't know, they're short ones, like 20 minutes, but they're really interesting because of course they interview the people behind the song. And sometimes they're like one-hit wonders. Sometimes they're like a group that's been still going. Like, so it's really cool, and you get to hear like the actual story behind it. And like, Teenage Dirtbag was literally like this one dude, just just singing, kind of writing his own songs and kind of trying to come up with an anthem for like the rocker guy. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's really cool, and it's like, oh, you get, you kind of find the real intent and meaning from the, you get it from them and like what they were trying to say, and then of course the songwriting process of like how it came to be. The most interesting one I thought was "Who Let the Dogs Out" by the Baha Men.
Fuck out of here.
Seriously.
Get the fuck out of here.
I'm not kidding, dude, because I thought the Baha Men were those three dudes, right?
Yeah.
It's those three guys. There were three guys.
Let me ask. Who? Who are they?
Who are the Baha Men? Was actually like an actual band that played like Caribbean type music. And then they actually literally auditioned those three guys. So they weren't like part of the band originally.
Did they sing or do they?
They sang. They sang, and they were talented guys. It was just they kind of put the band together, and that's kind of how they did it back in in that time.
More of a professional thing than like a passion thing or whatever.
Yeah. But it was like it was interesting because that like they had, I think one guy played the song in like Hawaii or something. It was like this bizarre thing where how the song got like viral. And before like,
viral was a thing.
Viral was the thing, and it's like, oh my god, and so you just don't realize that kind of stuff. And then of course for those like three guys and the rest of Baha Men, it's like it changed their life. Like that one song like changed the trajectory of like how they were in the music industry, and they went from like three guys who were just auditioning to like touring the world and being on these award shows, because it got a lot
20 years later they're like, I still gotta fucking sing about these dogs.
Yeah. But sometimes they're like proud of it. They're like, you know what, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for this one song that we got. Totally. So like, but it's very interesting. There's a lot of different like artists, and there's not one genre they kind of focus on. So
if you were the Baha Men and you were touring the world, would you play Who Let the Dogs Out early in the set, B, play it like as your closing, C, play it as your encore, or D, subvert expectations and not play it at all?
Ooh. I mean, as the you got to play that song. So, I mean, I'm kind of down with subverting the expectation as far as putting it earlier in the set.
But then aren't you afraid that they'll leave if all they came for to hear was that
song, huh?
How many there's at least a percentage of people that would leave right after they hear that song.
Yeah. I don't know. I would be bold with it if they knew more of the songs that we wrote, and maybe they have a fan base like that over time. I would be comfortable doing it. It's kind of like when this is different. It's different because it was like kind of like a big hit for them. Like Arctic Monkeys, when we saw them last, they had like a few albums deep, and some of the songs I would have expected maybe for them to play like later on in the set, they played like earlier in the set. So I don't know. It depends, right?
Them when we saw them in Outside Lands, they didn't play Fake Tales of San Francisco. I was like,
I know,
fuck you.
It's so perfect for that. But I bet they probably played that song enough times in San Francisco.
Enough times, yes.
But
I saw it once in San Francisco. It was great.
It's so fitting for a festival like that. So, but yeah, the whole Beatles thing reminded me of that. And they release some sporadically. They kind of release maybe like one every like month. It's not like a consistent thing, but there's about, I think, 7
it's on Vice
there. Yeah, just type in Vice. I think it's called The Story of.
I have Vice channel on the Apple TV. I'll check it out,
dude. There's actually one on the Cisco's Thong Song. That was really funny, but it's great because like you see them like they're like talking about the song. And they're like, yo, I owe everything to the song, or I'm still so passionate about like how the song came out. No matter if it was like my one hit wonder or like the song that is just kind of what I'm known for,
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, it's very cool. It's very cool.
Very cool. Very cool.
Very cool indeed. But yeah, watch Get Back. Just fucking throw it on as soon as we're done here.
You know what? Maybe I'll relax after this and
just do that. Just do that.
Try to find some whiskey and drink that.
Yes, bitch. Oh my God. I watched the second episode twice, so I've actually seen probably 11 or 12 hours of this shit.
Oh my gosh. Joey.
Second episode is that good.
Damn. And I know you're
Yeah.
such a Beatles fan too, man. Like through and through. So you could come to appreciate like watching a second time, maybe, you know, kind of focusing in on.
Well, I only watched the second time because Alicia was out when I started it. And then she came back when I had like 25 minutes left, and we watched the first one together. She wanted to see. I was like, I'm down to watch this one again. It was that good. So we watched it again. And then went into the third the next day. So good.
So good.
Yeah. Fantastic. We both, like, every time, like, she's working out there, I'm working in here, and then we'll, you know, meet in the kitchen or something. I just keep thinking about the Beatles. Yeah, me too. Shit.
You got Beetlemania, dude.
Yeah, man. Incredible. There's a scene, I think is in the second episode, where back in the 60s, 69, the original director, Michael Lindsay Hogg, placed like kind of covert, he bugged the cafeteria of Abbey Road or whatever, wherever they are. Maybe it was Twickenham. But John and Paul go in to have a private conversation, and it's being recorded. But back in the 60s, there was so much noise and interference on the audio track that you couldn't make it out. But now, in 2021, with all of Peter Jackson's money and wizardry, technical wizardry, they're able to kind of give you that conversation 50 years later that the two of them thought only they were having.
That's so cool. Was it an appropriate?
I'm not going to tell you at all about that conversation. I'm just going to tell you that alone should get you to like watch this fucking thing.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay. I'm sold already. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. Look at that.
Yeah. Look at that, mate. Shawnee, shall we get on to some lists, my friend?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get some lists going.
Let's do it. Word. Yin.
Word up.
Would you like to go first? Would you like I to go first?
Joe, you go first, man.
I'm going to go first.
Take the stage.
All right. Now, when it comes to movies, when it comes to trilogies, there's not a lot of good third movies.
I was yeah.
But we still have so many of them, and some of them are fairly good. So, Jonathan, my question to you is, what are your top 5 third installments in movie franchises? I don't even want to say movies don't even stop at trilogies anymore. They go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Whatever.
Yeah, we're kind of in outside of the age of threes, the trilogy, right? Like, it's kind of crazy.
The MCU, I feel, did away with that kind of concept where Captain America 3 Civil War is not the third or the arc of his. It's not where the arc of his story comes to a close.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's what we need.
Yeah.
That's what a trilogy does, is it closes the arc on that story or that character.
Yeah.
But throwing all that out the fucking window, what are your top 5 favorite third entries in movies?
Third entries in movies. This one was really hard because there are some stinkers in there for sure.
There's quite a few.
Quite a few. So I was like, oh, I like this trilogy. I like the first movie, maybe the second movie, third movie. Yeah. So, but I don't know. Some of them, one of my number 5 is kind of a guilty. It's kind of like not guilty pleasure, because I think it's a fun movie. I got Army of Darkness for number 5.
Fuck you, guilty pleasure. That's a great movie.
It's a good movie. Maybe it's out of the series. Like, yeah, it's definitely a way wackier kind of movie. But I actually just watched this recently. I was just kind of trying to find something to watch. And I was like, oh, you know what? I want to watch Army of Darkness in a minute. So
good.
It's so
good.
It's so good. And it does, like, you know, it's at the character of Ash, and, you know, obviously Bruce Campbell in, you know, the first 2 movies, and, you know, and then of course it's Sam Raimi through and through. He you know, completes the trilogy with that. It's so different because it's set in like a different time period. It's in this medieval kind of setting.
It's a medieval Three Stooges comedy. with
Yeah,
horror
there's a lot more.
elements.
Yeah, with horror elements, it's a lot more humor compared to the last two movies, and like tone wise. But yeah, I still love the movie. There's a lot of great scenes in the movie when he when he does the boomstick part. He's and he's trying to convince everyone like, hey, I'm from another world, and don't mess with me, kind of stuff. It's got lots of just. I mean, even some of the. I mean, evil Ash and like that whole thing is just it's just all, yeah. It goes so many different places, especially compared to I mean I should be talking about the previous films because like those two films were very have similar kind of humor and tone, but they're very like just kind of focused in one area, which I thought was the best part about those Evil Dead movies is it's just the cabin in the woods, like kind of secluded, and that's the setting that we're in. And this one, it takes place in there's a few different set pieces, but I think that alone of just Ash being this character who becomes this kind of like I don't know, like I mean obviously a hero to the people who he meets, but like he gets this chains, he gets the whole he like mods out his whole arm again, and he gets like kind of robotic. It does kind of take this different route too, where it kind of goes like not science fiction, but like a little. Like it has like some of those things to play with a little bit, and that's why I love it so much. But it just takes that a little bit further into it. So number 5, Army of Darkness. Yeah,
controversially, I would say it has one of the best sword fights. Near the
end
end between Ash and Evil Ash,
at the very
end, like in the castle,
good, and it's like a battle scene. There's like all sorts of stuff in the movie.
Yeah, I'll rip his balls. One of the skeletons says that. It's very funny.
Yeah,
it's very Jason and the Argonauts. It's great.
Yeah, it takes I think some tips from that. So and of course it still has some of the signature Sam Raimi directing and kind of cinematography. So I really like that. So number 5, Army of Darkness.
Wonderful.
Number 4, I've got the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Ooh.
Part of the Man with No Name trilogy. That's kind of like the unofficial trilogy name. Yeah, I mean this one's my favorite out of the 3 movies, and it's involves obviously Clint Eastwood's character, and it's got the spaghetti western genre. Sergio Morricone does the music. It's just got everything you want in a western like that, spaghetti western. And
can I tell you a secret?
Yes.
I've never seen it.
Oh, dude, you'll
at least
enjoy
I've never finished it. It's very long.
It's a very long movie.
I've seen the beginning like 20 times, but I love the first 2, especially the second one for a few dollars more.
What's funny? I was at like a bar a few weeks ago, and it was like playing randomly in the background. And
hell yeah!
But it was that classic scene of like the duel. There's pretty much a duel between the 3 kind of characters you follow, the good, the bad, and you kind of figure out which one's which, and then the classic kind of scene where they have the close up on the eyes, and it's literally a stare down between the 3 characters before they even duel each other, and it just creates this kind of obviously this. I mean, it's kind of comedic, like when you think about it, like because it just spends so much time, kind of building up this tension before they make a move and do something. So, I still love it for what that is, and I like the story, I guess, behind it too, compared to the other 2. So, yeah, the good, the bad, the ugly. Number 4.
Love it. Hell yeah.
Okay, here we go. Number 3. Okay, number 3, I've got The Return of the Jedi. Just a classic original Star Wars trilogy. It's not my favorite of the 3, but I do. We got Jedi Master Luke. I mean, he's a Jedi Master at the intro of it. I love the Jabba's Palace opening scene. I mean, that's one of my favorite
so good
opening scenes in the movie.
It might be it's the best opening sequence of any of the Star Wars movies.
I think so. Yeah, for
more
sure.
so than like Hoth. Hoth is great.
Yeah, Hoth is great,
But
and you spend a lot of time on Hoth too in the beginning.
You do. You do.
But this movie, it's good because you're obviously, with all these trilogies, right? You are familiar with, you've got a grounding for the characters, and obviously they're setting up, the character of Luke, the main kind of character, to be, he's gone through his training, he's become this like Jedi master, but he has to struggle with facing Darth Vader, his father, and then the Emperor as well in the movie. So.
Which that is the strongest part of that movie. They nailed
Oh yeah,
all of that stuff. It's
for
so
sure.
good.
The battle, like the third act of the film, and what they do with Darth Vader's character and the kind of battle between good and evil. It's just it's a great kind of final conclusion to that trilogy. And then
Sister.
yeah, he has a sister. There is another sky.
If you won't
walker.
turn, maybe she. Nah.
Yeah, there is a lot
So
of quotable
fucking
scenes in the movie.
It's so good. I refuse to watch Return of the Jedi until we get the despecialized
Yeah,
edition, where Vader doesn't scream no as he throws the
Yeah.
Emperor over. Fuck that.
I feel you, dude. I feel you.
Yeah. Anyway,
Um,
but yes,
yeah.
Return of the Jedi is very worthy of being on the list.
Yeah, and it's I mean, that trilogy was the original trilogy for both of us. I mean, I had
Yeah.
it on VHS. I mean, I remember watching it
Yeah.
and getting excited to keep watching the third film, and because you're just excited for the journey that they've been on. So, yeah, number 3, Return of the Jedi.
Hell yeah.
This one I had to flip flop a lot because I really like these two movies, and I've actually liked this movie a lot more over the years. Number 2, it's gonna be Back to the Future Part 3.
Yo, I was wondering when
Because I love
BTF was gonna make an appearance.
Well, everyone knows this. You know this, Joey. I love Back to the Future.
I do.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time. And the trilogy, when I look at it now, the second one has become the weakest link, I feel, in the series. Although I do like the time traveling they do in it. It's really cool. They kind of go back to the 50s, But yeah, this story is about, like the second one was kind of about like Marty and his future and all that stuff. The third one's kind of about like Doc and his kind of path and also Marty still, but more so focused on Marty and Doc's like friendship with each other, which for the most part in the first movie and the second movie, you get obviously you get an idea of like their kind of friendship and partnership and stuff. And in this third movie, it's really like, yo, I came back to save you, dude. Like, you know what I mean? It's like it has that like weight to it, and it really works well. And of course, just kind of like Army of Darkness, we're getting like a different genre film in this. We're getting a Western film.
That's my problem with the third movie.
I honestly,
I like what you're saying. I like all of that stuff about Marty and Doc and all their friendship and everything. But like your device is a time machine. You can go anywhere.
Yeah.
Why would you make a Western?
It's universal.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean? Like you could have gone to the medieval period. You could have gone to, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess because they're still in their hometown. I guess that makes sense, right?
Yeah. I guess that's the only way they can like, yeah, it's like the beginning. The whole premise is like, it's the beginning of Hill Valley and the town.
Yeah.
In,
so
right?
from that perspective, I've only ever put that together just now. That makes sense. But yeah, that was the thing that always bothered me about the third one. It's like, go fucking crazy with this shit.
Yeah.
No,
I think it was, maybe that was one of the, like, in the past, like, I didn't really like that movie as much. I probably went 1, 2, 3. Like, I really liked the first movie. Second one was crazy because it was like in the future. 3, maybe because of the limitation of like, well, this obviously, he got stuck there, and so they're kind of, they can't travel everywhere. And it's like, oh, it's just like, I don't know, it's a nice sentimental thing of like, with Doc and Marty. But you're right, like, and that's why it's just, oh man, I hope they never remake this series.
They will.
They will eventually, but if they do, hey, try to do some cool shit with time travel.
Yeah.
Go to more places for sure. And then
You've seen the kid on the train at the very end do that creepy thing with his
yeah.
hand, right?
I've seen that video. I think you sent me that video actually.
I'm sure I did. But yeah, if the imaginary audience doesn't know what I'm talking about, Google Back to the Future Part 3 creepy kid on train. And that should
Yeah,
give you what you're looking for.
it'll give you an idea. So, yeah, I really like the Back to the Future series. Sorry, man. Gotta wake up, guys.
Okay.
Gotta wake up.
No, you're fine. You're fine. We're both exhausted.
I know. We're trucking along. Yeah, I fucking love that third film, and that it is nice to have, especially with some trilogies, that finality.
Yes.
Because like again, we're kind of used to now a lot of movies that kind of continue on and
or it goes, it's done. Or is it?
Or is it?
It's
Yeah,
like,
dude.
fuck, this is exhausting.
That's why I've been such a fan of like, either TV shows that just go like for a season or two, and I'm like, okay, I'm like, that's the story you want to tell, So yeah, I kind of feel the same way for this movie, especially like, or this trilogy and this third film. It's like, okay, you got Doc back, you destroy the time machine, there's this nice little. It's very strange because Doc was like, destroy it, and he kind of built one himself again, but he wanted to see his friend, I guess, and travel in time with his wife and kids. But yeah, and it was a nice moment, like at the end too, where they kind of wrap it up and they have that photo of them, at the clock tower and all that stuff. So yeah, Back to the Future Part 3.
You just made me like that movie just a little bit more. So thank you for that.
Aw. And then number one, kind of similar to Back to the Future series. I didn't like this. I wouldn't say I didn't like this movie. It wasn't my favorite of the three at first, and then it just kind of grew on me a lot more. And it's The Last Crusade, Indiana Jones.
Yes.
We've talked about this movie a bunch, I think, on this show. I mean, it's got like kind of like a little origins. I wouldn't say origin story, but yeah, origin story.
It's got an origin prologue
for Indy and how he kind of got into traveling the world for all the looking for all the treasures and being Indiana Jones himself. And then of course the little hints of like how he kind of the person he maybe not looked up to, but yeah, he met someone who it kind of looked like Indiana Jones, and maybe took obviously some inspiration with that interaction.
He got his whip, his scar, his fedora, his fear of snakes,
all in that prologue, right?
All in that, yeah,
all in that prologue, dude. So
it's pretty wild.
And Sean Connery's in it as his dad. Great like dynamic between those two characters. Yeah.
Can I just real quick, because you brought up Sean Connery and that first scene. This is what we need to see more of Hollywood. More, like it's so much more effective what Spielberg does is you see the back of Indy's father's head and you hear Sean Connery's voice.
Yeah.
You don't need to de-age Sean Connery for that scene. You don't need a different actor for that scene. The voice was powerful enough. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's such simple filmmaking that people overthink it or don't think about it at all.
You're right.
You know what I mean? In Marvel, they would have de-aged that shit and you wouldn't have been focused on the scene. You would have been focused on, whoa, he looks like he did back in 1984. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's such good that opening, that prologue is a masterclass in filmmaking.
It is. Writing. It goes in writing. Yeah. It goes through a lot of different, they do a lot to kind of solidify, Indy's character and like where he, came from. And yeah. And then the whole, it's quite, a lot of different set pieces going on too. There's a lot of stuff happening in that prologue. But that's what kept me engaged. And it's great to have something like that, to kind of start it off like that, compared to the last two films where it was a little different. What else? Oh, I love the third act. So there's like,
Yeah.
you got the. I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff that happens in the movie, but yeah, there's the kind of the trials of trying to get the punishment. Yes, punishment. The holy grail. But
Oh,
yeah.
it starts with an I.
Ooh, you have a good Sean Connery impression.
Thank
Dude.
you.
I like that.
Thank you.
But yeah. Um, that's it. I love
It, baby.
that trilogy. Yeah, I love that third movie. It's such a good one. In fact, I feel like I probably watched that third movie more out of all the movies. It's either
I agree.
Raiders of the Lost Ark or The Last Crusade. And I still give it up for the second one. I'm blanking
I
on the name.
love Temple of Doom, yeah.
Temple of
but
Doom.
these two were kind of untouchable. And I think I'm in the same camp as you. It's like I hold Raiders of the Lost Ark in a higher regard.
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, Last Crusade is just a more enjoyable watch because there's so much more humor to it. You get Sean Connery in that dynamic.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's so good.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Sorry. Cat's going wild over here. But yeah, that's my list, dude.
Is it Biko or is it Ube?
It's actually Thanos, my roommate's cat.
Oh, sup? Don't
Right.
snap.
Running amok. What's up, dude? Wake up.
You
All right.
good? All right. Shawnee, we're gonna get through mine and the next list fast, and we're both gonna
Knockout.
lay down. Yes.
I want to watch some of this Beatles documentary, dude. But
yes, you should. You should fall asleep with it on.
it's been. I'm sure it's for you. It's been nonstop all day. I haven't had like a moment to like.
Yeah.
I had like
yeah.
a moment before this just to like sit down and just be like. Oh.
And then you're like, "Fuck Christ, I'm tired."
I was like, if I take a nap, that's not going to happen because I'm probably going to fall asleep through the show. So.
Thank you for not.
Yes.
All right. Number 5 for me. I always think it's number 2, but it's actually the third installment, 007 Goldfinger.
Ooh, a little 007. Okay.
Yes, Goldfinger's, I think, up until Skyfall, was my favorite Bond film. You've got Goldfinger, you've got Odd Job, you've got Sean Connery, you've got Pussy Galore. What?
Yeah, a lot of characters.
You've got Fort Knox. And I'm not a Bond aficionado or anything like that, but I do believe Goldfinger is the one that started the tradition of, I don't know about the gun barrel, but like the opening sequence, and it kind of gave all the future Bond, all the tropes that we have come to associate with Bond, stem from Goldfinger.
Goldfinger.
And I could be wrong about that, but that is my belief. So there we go.
That reminds me of I talked about No Time to Die on the last episode. But,
yeah.
That reminds me, there was one of the cool scenes. There is a scene in the movie where no, you gonna watch it?
No, go for it. What are you gonna say?
There is a scene in the movie where it's like in the third act, and James Bond, Daniel Craig, like turns in the set piece that they're in, the area that the third act's taking place. He turns the corner, right, and he does the little shot. He does a little hip shot, and then they frame it just exactly like the opening scenes of James Bond from then on, with the blood and everything, the gun barrel shot, pretty much. But you could tell that they purposely set up that shot to be like, oh, we need to like kind of tip our hat off to the.
So that is not something I would have wanted spoiled for me.
It's not.
That is something I would have wanted to just experience. Now,
damn it! It's honestly, it's super quick, and it's like, oh, I see what they did there. Like,
no, that's very cool. That's very cool. Good for them. They've never been traditional with all the Bond elements, from the martini shaken not stirred to James Bond, all that. So
yeah,
very cool. Very cool. Number 4. Robert Rodriguez's Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
Hey, I had that as my runner-up, actually.
Great fucking movie. We saw this in 8th grade. I think my dad bought all our tickets.
Yeah.
So thank you, Kenny. I know you're listening. But yeah, this movie's fucking great. I love the first two, especially Desperado. Desperado was in my top 5 for a very, very long time. And Once Upon a Time in Mexico is an incoherent kind of mess, but it's such a fun party of a mess
It
that
is,
it's
yeah.
like I'm just along for the ride. You've got Willem Dafoe, you've got Ewan Mendes, you've got Johnny Depp, you've got Salma Hayek and Antonio Banderas, and Enrique Iglesias shows up. What the fuck? It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. Mickey Rourke's in it. Yes.
Damn, I forgot Mickey Rourke was in that.
Mickey Rourke and Cheech Marin.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Great,
Damn, I'm gonna have
great
to rewatch
movie.
that series.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We have the same number 3, Return of the Jedi.
Nice. Okay. A little crossover.
No need to recap it. Honestly, we kind of covered everything. The Vader Luke stuff is superb.
Superb.
The other stuff is a little less so, but to me, it's still kind of the perfect trilogy, at least in terms of looking at the main character's arc.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 2, Army of Darkness.
Dude, yeah. Yeah.
We don't need to go back into it. It's so good. And then number 1, we have the same number 1, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Hey, okay.
For all the reasons we already touched on. I mean, it's so good. It does everything at least as good as Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then you add in the Sean Connery father humor element to it, and it's just so good.
That
so
dynamic
good.
is so good, man. I still, you know what? I gotta say, I probably watch like, and maybe that's why I still like trilogy movies, because it's like, oh, you could, I try to watch maybe. I think I've watched Indiana Jones like once every year or something like that, like the trilogy.
Totally.
And it's great. I love revisiting those movies because it's so much fun, and I still get so much enjoyment out of watching those trilogy movies.
And there's only 3 of them. There's only 3. They've never made any more of them. They've never made a 4th. They're not making a 5th. And so we just got to be happy and thankful and appreciative of the only 3 Indiana Jones movies that there are.
In our minds, yes.
Yes.
Nice list, Joey. I love how we had a few crossovers, and I think we're right. We were kind of thinking the same thing. It's there's a lot of stinkers for third films.
So many.
Because we were talking about like I think we were talking like Spider-Man recently, and it's just like
I've grown to like that movie, but it's not in my top 5.
Yeah.
Dark Knight Rises is not in my top 5. Batman Forever is not in my top 5. Obviously these are my top 5. So yeah, there we go. There we go. Jonathan, do you have a list for me? What happened here?
Ooh.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can still hear you.
Okay, cool.
It was a little choppy just for a bit. The second list tonight is gonna be I don't know. I was just thinking about this like the other day. I was like, we've done album covers, and usually a lot of even stuff that covers this as far as like articles or whatever, they always talk about like the front of the cover. But I especially with a vinyl record, I like to spend a lot of time in the inside sleeve or whatever you have in there, and also looking at the back of the cover. So, Joey, what are your top 5 favorite back album covers?
Love this. So glad you asked. Number 5. This feels like a cheat because it's actually one image.
Oh, I can see what you're gonna put up.
It's Blink-182, the Mark Tom and Travis show. The back image is more. It's the concert that they're playing at. You see,
but there's so much to see in that back cover.
Them on stage. There's so much. There's dudes in a shower. There's a dude in a banana. There's a little person with nipple rings and a cigar riding a surfboard. There's an alien. There's a wizard. There's an angry businessman for some reason.
Yeah, just chilling there.
More aliens. Travis, I'm pregnant, says the banana. This is a fantastic piece of art. And I've spent, I don't know how many hours staring at every piece of this thing.
Oh, yeah. That's so cool. You have a vinyl too.
Yeah. I was like, if I get one Blink album on vinyl, it's got to be
this album.
Probably my favorite record of all time. At least it used to be. I don't know if it would still hold up to that, but it's up there. It's way up there.
That's so cool.
Number 4. I'm gonna go another cartoony route.
Okay.
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 But Ramones, Rocket to Russia.
Ooh.
And you've got the Earth, and you've got the pinhead on the Ramones rocket, and then you've got like a Russian. He's like whipping the guy with carrying the salt. It's not a very PG or a PC, I should say, cover, but there's a lot of fun Easter eggs
Yeah. Yeah.
from kind of that underground art scene kind of thing.
I like
Um,
your first two covers so far have been stuff like you could just kind of stare at the back and find little things to kind of appreciate and
yes,
look at. So
exactly.
that's super cool. And then it's obviously illustrated art too for these first two as well.
And that's where it ends. That's where it ends. Um, Number 3, I'm going to go Elvis Costello, this year's model. The back cover is him. I don't know if you can see it. My copy is a little blurred out, but
That's
it's
okay.
basically him at an open window. I've always liked the image of
Oh, I
him. It looks
see.
like he's flying through the window, and then his bandmates are right there. I
Right
always
there,
thought that
right?
was a striking image. The one guy's facing away. Yeah, I've always liked this.
I like
Excuse me,
it.
this image for some reason. Number 2, I think this record, the front and the back pair very well together. And really, the album the band has described as a concept album about a night out on the town, going out, drinking, whatever. And really, the front and back covers very simply show you the whole night. So the front cover is this chap
Yeah.
sitting in a booth looking very well as he's puffing away on a cigarette. And on the back is him just with the cigarette in his hand, just holding his
And it's like
forehead. We've
the ash is like kind of
Mhm.
built up. You know, it's been sitting there for a bit.
I've never even noticed. That was brilliant. Yeah. But we've all been there. There's a picture of me doing that at Lucky Chances with your dad. Your dad's like looking at me and smiling as I'm just like not doing well.
Oh
Um,
man.
but yeah, so that's my number 2. My number 1, my uncle Mike gave me this record and was like, check
Ooh.
this out.
Okay.
It's George Carlin, Toledo Window Box. And you need
Oh
to see the
yeah.
front to get the back.
To
Now
get
the
the back.
front is him pointing to his t-shirt, and on the t-shirt is a pot with a bunch of weed plants, a bunch of marijuana plants. And if you turn it back, Georgie is now stoned and all the plants are gone.
That's so good.
So it's pretty funny. Um,
I love
and
that, dude.
that's the first kind of image I remember, kind of like, oh, you know what I mean? Like thinking about how they could be connected.
Yeah.
That's the first time that would ever kind of click for me. So that was the first one that came to mind when you
Awesome.
posed this list to me. So there we go.
I like it, dude. I was not prepared. I did not get my records out. I'm such an idiot. I should have brought my records out to show.
Fool.
But yeah, I think I love the obviously your list with because it's the back of the album cover. It has to say, you know, like, I mean, it doesn't have to say something or relate too much to the front image, but I think it's it works well with, like, you know, this is an album and this you know, it's a piece of art where it's kind of like it works together, you know, in a way to present and I love those kind of similar to George Carlin and the Arctic Monkeys. They have these kind of similar kind of framed images, and then this kind of juxtaposing, you know, kind of a cause and effect kind of thing. I don't know how to describe it. Like,
Yeah. Question answer kind of.
Yeah. So it does kind of relay back, but that George Carlin one is that's a smart one. I like that one.
Hell yeah.
My list is
Shawnee.
Oh yeah, good.
No, I was just gonna say I'm very excited to hear yours.
It's I wish I had images to show you guys, but kind of dug into the albums, the records I have, and
The LPs.
some of them are like very simple, but I just like how just cool it looks.
Hell yeah.
I've got number 5. I got Revolver on here.
Ooh.
With just like a straight black and white, kind of like it's. I think the image. I don't know if it's if it's like an overexposed image but there's like the lighting of like you just kind of see the Beatles. It's just pretty much the four Beatles, and they're like
Aren't they
face.
wearing like square sunglasses
Yeah,
or
they're wearing like
whatever?
sunglasses, but like the light, it's like the way the light hits them. It's almost like a stencil. It almost looks like that. It's very similar to like, well, I'll mention it later since it's on my list. But yeah, it has a stencil look to it in a way, and it's very simple and it's great because there's this. It's a lot of just black, and it's like them and like shadows and just looks so cool, and it's great because you have this kind of black area where you can put like they have the titles and the song titles and everything and the credits, and I don't know, it's not as elaborate of a design and choice compared to the cover of Revolver, but I think I like that. I like how it was like the front is this whole kind of illustrated collage of just a bunch of things, and then you have this kind of like, I wouldn't even say neutral. I don't know if that's the right word, but you have this kind of now it's kind of this two-tone thing, but it's still playing with this kind of black and white, kind of theme. So, yeah, Revolver number 5. Number 4. This is actually, I think this is an album I borrowed from you, and I still have, Joey.
You fucking shit.
I have your Kerplunk album.
Ooh.
And it's Green Day's Kerplunk. It's got like, I mean, the cover obviously it's like it's playing with this kind of color thing where Green Day's in like green. It's got the chick with the like, she's doing a little thing
Like
there.
a squirt gun or a ray
Squirt
gun or something?
yeah, something like that. But I like this back cover because it's like all handwritten. It's got like an image of like just obviously this is early Green Day, and just like it's the three of them. I think I don't even know where they're at. They're just like just standing around. It's not like it's one of those like in the moment shots. It's not like a photo shoot shot. You know what I mean? It's not like the Beatles Revolver where they're it's obviously they pose for the shot. It's just them naturally in their own habitat, and then all the titles and everything are like handwritten. It looks like it was put together and like photocopied for the
Hell
back
yeah.
cover. And and at the time, that it's kind of like Green Day's kind of feel and vibe. I think that was so reflective of what that album was too as well. So I like that kind of DUI kind of look, and just showed it almost felt like they had their their hands on a lot of the pieces of the album and the conceiving of the album. So I like that part. So yeah, Kerplunk for number 4.
Hell yeah.
Here we go. Oh man, there's so many of these. Number 2. Okay, I got these all switched around. I'm gonna go number 3. I'm gonna go The Clash's UK self-titled.
Hell yeah.
One. So this is why I go back to the stencil kind of look. The front of the album is the 3 Clash members looking all cool.
Yeah, yeah.
I got some hands in their pockets and but the way they play with the kind of stencil look where there's only a few tones of like layers of colors, and then the back cover is this kind of stencil of these British kind of police officers and like this kind of riot scene that they're kind of creating with it. And I think, and then of course the same kind of color palette with this kind of greens and I think it's like orange, or I forgot what the other color is, but yeah, it's very like a two-tone kind of thing with the stencil art, but it just like with the back cover and these policemen, it like when I listen to this album, I think of this like the stuff going on, and when my dad describes this album to me, it's just like this, this is what punk was like, defying like the overlords, the higher ups, the government, and it's just like in that one image in the back of it, really tells that story of like maybe what the Clash is trying to say, or what they're what they kind of stand for as being a band of that time in the punk era. So yeah, and it goes, and it matches really well with the front and everything. I think it's a really well, and of course the album's awesome. Um,
Fire.
so yeah, that's number 3, right? Number 3.
Yes.
Uh, I had whatever people say as number 1. So, and you
Ooh,
said it,
sorry.
you said it totally right. I mean the kind of two sides, like, and I like how you say it's like how the night started out and then like how it finished. And I actually just got that record on vinyl recently.
Oh yeah, good,
Super excited.
good,
I just got that one and Favorite Worst Nightmare on vinyl.
nice.
So that's fucking awesome. But yeah, the simplistic. I maybe I kind of move towards the simplistic kind of looks, like just the one image of the guy. It's not even his whole body. It's just like his upper, half of the body, and that simple thing of his cigarette. And then I think the CD cover also is it's like the cigarette, like ashtray.
It's like ashtray. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, for what I remember with the CD, and then the I think the record I have, I don't know if it has. I can't remember if it had anything designed on it, but
I think the B side uh center sticker is the ashtray.
Is that. Um, yeah. You said it. I mean, it's a great album cover, and again, it tells a story. I maybe that's why I picked this topic tonight. I still love looking at physical versions of the albums because it does give you an idea of maybe what this album's about, what they're trying to say, and it's like it's themed to the what they're sharing in their music. So, and it tells a story, and I think that's what's so fascinating about album covers, and we don't get that as much. We get usually just even with a digitized. You kind of gave me a peek of what the Christmas present is this year, but yeah, with that, not a lot of people design back covers. They have it maybe in their digital linear notes or whatever. So,
Right.
I think that art of the back cover and the CD jacket and the vinyl record, it's lost at times. But I know vinyls, obviously, even bands today are starting, coming out with their records and putting out their designs together, with all everything in there.
Yeah.
And then I skipped over my 2. Sorry. Number
No,
2.
no.
Number 2, I got Enema of the State, Blink-182, a Blink record.
Fuck,
As
I
well.
was thinking about doing that one as well. Shit.
Because they had the the front of the cover is the the nurse with the glove, the blue glove, but busty it or whatever, and the back cover is like I think it's like all 3 of them getting like at a doctor's office. And they're all like, it looks like they're all getting checked up by this lady, and of course like the nurse is she's with the stockings on, she's looking all sexy and everything, and and it's just them. You could tell like it's them like half naked because like at that time they were just like half naked in all their videos and stuff. So it's the perfect image of Blink-182 at that time too.
Yeah, that's a great call. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So and yeah, it's them like being giddy and like they're gonna get like checked up by this nurse. Like it's such a, and it's just so goofy, and but it really for me it captures that time of their career, I guess, and that album. And yeah, I mean it was go ahead.
No. The inside booklet for that album was a lot of fun too, because you opened it up and it was just them waiting in line to get checked on by this nurse, and
Yeah.
they pop up in different poses like 3 or 4 times, but there's all these other people that they're like talking to in line. And yeah, it was just a lot of fun. It's a fun record.
It's a fun record, and it really reflects in the album cover. And I don't have any Blink on vinyl, funny enough. So you're right.
I need more. That was the only one I have.
Yeah, like that. Like the Mark, Tom, and Travis show is probably definitely worth it in the collection. I'd probably get the earlier. I would even say they're self-titled too. I'd probably try to get that on vinyl. I bet you have some crazy designs for the records themselves, like the what do you call it, the pressing of it,
Right. Yeah.
different colors they can do and all that stuff. But yeah, that's I just thought of that like recently, and you kind of get I think we were talking about like I don't want to say it on the air, but yeah, we're talking about in Thanksgiving we were talking about that whole situation. Yeah, conversation. And yeah, I just feel like it's such a thing that it's a lost art. I feel because I think most people releasing music probably just digitally alone don't really consider the back cover anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was one of my favorite, you know, especially when you're like even just earlier on, even with CDs, like getting a CD and like looking at the jacket, but like I would stare at the back for like ever listening, you know,
Yeah.
listening to music, and you're like, oh, this is cool, like this is what the song is. And you try to memorize the track listing too, and like how that goes. And then, you know, as I got more into like music and production, it's like, oh, I'm, you know, obviously I'm looking at like who's producing the records. And it's crazy when you kind of go back and like look at that stuff. You're like, whoa, like I can't believe this was recorded here. And like,
Yeah.
so it's really cool. It you know, that's why I'm glad vinyl is kind of back in a way, because I know a lot of bands are considering that artwork still being produced for that, you know, for that medium. So, but yeah, that's it.
I love
That
it.
is that.
Good list, Shawnee.
Thank you.
You no, thank you. Um, anything you would like to share with our dear, sweet, lovely imaginary audience this week?
Man, I got like, I should have shared that work story on my share time, because that really kicked me into gear this week. So
We can
um,
count it.
we can count it. Yeah, we'll count that one. We'll do that. Joey, do you got anything to share?
Um, did I tell you about Furbo last week? The like
For
treat dispenser thing.
Yes, you showed us.
Okay,
Actually, you showed us on the air.
I did. You're
That was
right.
so
I
cool.
did. So hopping over that, um, I believe I finished my latest script. So I'm
Ooh,
just
okay.
excited about that, honestly. Not really it's a shout out to myself, but yeah, it's I think it's finally in a place where I can like show it to people. And so anyone listening that would like to give it a read, I would love to send it to you and get some feedback. But yeah,
Dude,
I'm
that's so
excited.
cool. That's
Thanks,
awesome,
man.
man. Yeah, I remember you were like working on that quite a bit, and you had your move and everything, and transition of job. So I'm sure that was, you know,
Yeah.
getting back into
Yeah.
it, and just like, yeah,
Still finding my rhythm if we're, but
yeah, dude, that's awesome.
it's all good. Thanks, man.
You know, I'll read it, man. If you send it to me, for sure.
I'll send it to you. I'll send that shit your way.
I'll check
Um, Shawnee, where can we find more of your work on the internet this week?
You guys can find me on Instagram at Sean Day Music, and on my website, SeanDayMusic.net.
.net.
Joey, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
You can check me out on Twitter and on Instagram at Joey Parati. Also on my website, Joey Parati Scripts. No, sorry, joeyparati.com. That was the old one. That was the old, going right back in time. You can check out the show at Top 5 Pod. It's TOPFIVE 5 POD on Instagram, on Twitter at gmail.com. We're on Facebook at Top 5 Podcast. You can check us out on YouTube, Google Play, Apple Music, SoundCloud, Anchor, Spotify. So please give us a like, give us a listen, give us a follow, give us your love, and we will give you
Merry Jolly Love and Return. Ha!
Merry Jolly Love and Return. Until next time, I'm Joey Parati.
And I'm Sean Day.
Thanks for listening.
Ooh, they'll sing the song.
That's yes.